Good morning students. I hope you are all doing good. Let us see what we are going to discuss in today's class. Good morning students. In previous class we have stopped at inert pair effect. So in today's class we will start with that one. Before that just we have started chemical properties of 15th group elements. In previous class we have started chemical properties of 15th group elements. In that just we need to see what is meant by this inert pair effect. After that this term is repeated with remaining groups also. First, before going to inert pair effect, we have to see that this is nucleus, first shell, second shell, third shell. For example, in third shell we have one electron. In first shell we have two electrons. In second shell we have 8 electrons. Like that. In second shell we have 8 electrons. In first shell we have 2 electrons. In third shell we have 1 electron. The electrons which are present in inner shells, this is called valence shell. The orbit which is the last orbit is called valence shell. In that electrons are called valence electrons. Okay. These are called inner shells. The electron which is present in the valence shell should be attracted by nucleus to be held in the outermost orbit. Not only this one, every electron will be like that only. But here the thing is, between this electron and nucleus, we have these inner shell electrons. These inner shell electrons are acting like one screen. These inner shell electrons are acting like one screen in between nucleus and that outermost electron. Inner electrons are acting like one screen in between that nucleus and outermost electron. Because of that, attraction power of nucleus on valence electron decreases. When these inner electrons are acting like a screen means it is like wall. In between this outermost electron and nucleus, these are acting like a wall. That means this attraction on outermost electron will be stopped by these electrons. Stopped means they are acting like a wall between this outermost electron and nucleus. Because of that, actually how much attraction should be there on that outermost electron, that much electron is not able to be shown because of this effect. That effect is called screening effect or shielding effect. That effect is called screening effect or shielding effect. Attraction power of nucleus on valence electrons decreases. Is it okay, ma'am? Why it is getting decreased? Because of the inner electrons acting like a shield between nucleus and outermost electron. Attraction power of nucleus on valence electron decreases because of inner shell electrons are acting like a screen between nucleus and outermost electrons. Is it okay? That is called screening effect. Now, screening effect caused by electrons depending on those shapes of subshells. S subshell shape is spherical. P subshell shape is dumbbell. D double dumbbell. F orbital we cannot draw. fused structure, which is very complicated to draw. See, when we move from S to P, P to D and D to F, shapes of orbitals complexity increases. We cannot draw the shapes of orbitals easily. S orbital means simply we will draw one sphere. P orbital means 3 p orbitals are there, which we have to draw in 3-dimensional way. They have to present along x-axis, y-axis and z-axis like that. Little bit complexity increases. When compared to S, to draw the structure of P, little bit complexity increases. Coming to D, furthermore little bit complexity increases. Next, F, fused is nothing but that complexity furthermore increases, and F orbital shape we cannot draw on the paper. Is it okay, all of you? I think we have done these structures, shapes of orbitals in our atomic structure topic only, 11th class. Okay, S orbital shape is spherical, P orbital dumbbell, D orbital double dumbbell and F fused. Very complications are increased when we move from S to P, P to D, D to F like that. When the complexity of the structure of subshell is increased, screening effect is decreased. Because the electrons present in high complicated shapes cannot apply that much screening effect. Is it okay? So, screening effect order. Screening effect order is S greater than P, P greater than D, D greater than F. When compared to S and P, D and F electrons present in D and F orbitals have poor shielding effect. Electrons present in D and F have poor shielding effect. One more time. Generally, electrons present in inner shells, they will act like a screen between outermost shell and nucleus. But that shielding effect is also depending on shapes of orbitals. Okay, when the complexity or difficulty to draw the structure shape, when difficulty to draw the shape of subshell is increased, shielding effect is decreased. We can draw the S orbital shape easily. So it has high shielding effect. Electrons present in S orbital has high shielding effect. Next P orbital, next D, next F. So we can keep one point that is here. Electrons present in D and F subshells have very poor shielding effect. Electrons present in D and F subshells have very poor shielding effect. Is it okay, ma? Now coming to this point, observe this point. In previous class we have seen the tendency to show +5 oxidation state decreases down the group, and tendency to show +3 oxidation state increases down the group because of inert pair effect. Like that we have seen. For example, let us consider bismuth. Bismuth outermost electronic configuration is 6s to 6p3. Bismuth outermost electronic configuration is 6s to 6p3. Let us consider this is the nucleus, first shell, second shell, third shell, fourth shell, fifth shell, sixth shell. Is it okay, ma'am? Here we have 6s to 6p3. Okay, let us see now. If you write complete electronic configuration of bismuth, Definitely here we have 5d10. If you write complete electronic configuration of bismuth, we will have 5d10 electrons also. Even 4f electrons are also there. Are you getting my point? Now let us observe. 4f electrons present in 4th shell and 5d electrons present in 5th shell. They have very poor shielding effect. That one only I told here. Electrons present in D and F subshells have very poor shielding effect. Even though remaining shells have slight shielding effect, but these electrons will play major important role because these are acting like inner electrons. So 4f14, 5d10. These d electrons and f electrons have very poor shielding effect because major number of electrons are present in d and f. Even if you have 5p here, 5p has hardly 6 electrons only. Even though its screening effect is considered, that screening effect is very less. 6 electrons only, na? But here majorly electrons, number of electrons are present in d. That's why we are concentrating on d and f. Those are present in inner shells, 5th shell and 4th shell. Now these are outermost shell electrons. When these 4f and 5d electrons, they have very poor shielding effect, this nucleus will hold the 6s electrons very strongly. Six electrons are present in sphere like a ball. So they can be attracted by nucleus very strongly when compared to p electrons. Electrons present in s subshell are present in spherical shape. Its orbital shape is spherical. So electrons present in s orbital can be strongly attracted by nucleus when compared to p. If the shielding effect is high, the 6s electrons are also not attracted by nucleus. When this shielding effect is high, 6s electrons cannot be attracted by nucleus strongly. So these electrons also can be involved in reaction. But here what is happening? Top to bottom, when we consider, electrons are entering into inner d orbitals and f orbitals also. Is it okay, ma? 5d electrons and 4f electrons. These 5d electrons and 4f electrons have very poor shielding effect. When they have very poor shielding effect, this nucleus directly it will hold the 6s electrons very strongly. When this nucleus holds the 6s electrons very strongly, they cannot participate in the reaction easily. Their ionization energy increases. So they cannot participate in the reaction easily. Is it okay? That is called inert pair effect. Reluctance of s electrons to be involved in chemical reaction. Reluctance means opposition. They are not ready to be involved in chemical reaction. Reluctance of s electrons to be involved in chemical reaction is called inert pair effect. When s electrons are not involved in chemical reaction, only p electrons are going to be involved in reaction. Only p electrons are going to be involved in reaction. These 6s electrons are not going to be involved because they are highly attracted by nucleus. Because of inner d orbitals and f orbitals have very poor shielding effect. Okay, that's why only p electrons can be involved in reaction in bismuth. How many p electrons are present, ma? 3. So it can show valency 3 only. So it can lose 3 electrons from 6p only. No chance of 6s. If all the electrons are lost by bismuth is metal ma. If all the electrons are lost by bismuth, then it has to show +5 oxygen state. But the tendency is not there, because 6s electrons are very strongly attracted by nucleus because of poor shielding effect of 5d and 4f. This nucleus power is very high. Number of protons are very high in bismuth. So they will hold the 6s electrons strongly. Because of that, reluctance of 6s electrons, meaning s electrons are not going to be lost easily. Only p electrons are going to be lost easily in bismuth, meaning lower oxygen state. Bismuth is stable in +3 oxygen state instead of +5 because of losing of electrons from 6p only. Reluctance of s electrons to be involved in chemical reaction is called inert pair effect. Now, I think you understood this concept. Let us see the sentence again. The tendency to show +5 oxygen state decreases down the group. Means down the group, that +5 oxygen state capability decreases and +3 oxygen state capability increases because of which effect? Inert pair effect. First 2 elements and 3 elements d electrons and f electrons, these many are not there. So s electrons and p electrons are there present in inner orbitals. So they have high shielding effect. When they have high shielding effect, outermost electrons can be lost easily. That's why higher members can show +5 oxygen state, lower members cannot show +5 oxygen state. Phosphorus can be existed in +5 oxygen state. Bismuth can be existed in +3 oxygen state. This is because of inert pair effect. In phosphorus, that shielding effect caused by d electrons and f electrons. F electrons are not there. D electrons also very less are there. Because of that, shielding effect is high. S and p electrons are only majorly there. So when shielding effect is high, nucleus cannot attract the outermost electrons easily. So those outermost electrons can be lost and it can show +5 oxygen state. But coming to bismuth, because of this inert pair effect, these x electrons are directly attracted by the nucleus very strongly. Because of that, only 6p electrons it is going to lose. It is going to lose only 6p electrons. Are you understanding, ma? So it can show, bismuth can show only +3 oxygen state. Now, tendency to show +5 oxygen state decreases down the group and tendency to show +3 oxygen state increases down the group because of inert pair effect. This is the explanation about inert pair effect, ma. I hope you are clear. Remember this point carefully, which is highly useful in your next coming classes also, next coming groups also. This is regarding 15th group we are studying now. In the same way, we will study 16th and 17th also. Like this only, there also we will consider inert pair effect. Top to bottom, tendency to show higher oxygen state decreases and tendency to show lower oxygen state increases. That is because of inert pair effect. Inert pair effect definition is reluctance of s electrons to be involved in chemical reaction. Reluctance of s electrons to be involved in chemical reaction is called inert pair effect. Is it okay, ma'am? The tendency to show -3, okay. Bismuth hardly forms any compound in -3 oxygen state. The stability of +5 oxygen state decreases down the group. The only well categorized of +5 oxygen state decreases down the group. The only well characterized bismuth 5 compound is BiF5. Because of fluorine high reactivity on it is there. The stability of +5 oxygen state decreases and that of +5 oxygen state +3 state increases due to inert pair effect down the group. Besides plus 5 oxygen state, nitrogen exhibits plus 1, plus 2, plus 4 oxygen states. Nitrogen cannot show 5 oxygen state because it has no empty d orbitals. Nitrogen has outermost electrons in second shell only. In that second shell we have no empty d orbitals. That explanation we will get in next coming anomalous properties of nitrogen. In that we will get clearly we will see that one. Nitrogen can show plus 1, plus 2, plus 4 oxygen states along with minus 3 also. Okay, when it reacts with oxygen. However, it does not form compounds in plus 5 oxygen state with halogens as nitrogen does not have d orbitals to accommodate electrons from other elements to form bonds. Okay, let us see this explanation. Nitrogen contains electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. Its outermost shell is second shell. In that d orbitals are not there. Okay, so how many unpaired electrons are there? 3. By using the 3 unpaired electrons, it will show valency 3, minus 3. Or hardly this lone pair can be involved in coordinate covalent bond. It will show hardly 4 only. But there is no chance of 5 because empty d orbitals are not there. But phosphorus, if you see, electronic configuration of phosphorus is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3, 2p6, sorry. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p3. This is the electronic configuration of phosphorus. Outermost shell is third shell, contains 3 unpaired electrons only, but 3d also there. 3d empty orbitals are there because d is started from third shell only. What is that? D is started from third shell only. In second shell, d orbitals are not there. So this is empty. Now one of the electrons present here can be excited to higher energy 3d. Then it has 5 unpaired electrons. 5 unpaired electrons can be involved in bond formation with high electronegative atom to show 5 oxygen state. In this way, phosphorus is able to show oxygen state 5, but nitrogen is not able to show oxygen state 5 because of no empty d orbitals. As there are no empty d orbitals, it is not able to show higher oxygen states. Phosphorus also shows plus 1 and plus 4 oxygen states in some oxo acids. Okay. In the case of nitrogen, all oxygen states from plus 1 to plus 4 tend to disproportionate in acid solution. For example, okay, what is meant by disproportionation reaction? Let us see. Let us see the example and understand more. HNO2 gives rise to HNO3 plus H2O plus 2NO. In this HNO2, oxygen state of nitrogen is hydrogen generally plus 1 nitrogen X, oxygen minus 2, minus 4 is equal to 0. X minus 3 is equal to 0. X is equal to plus 3. Oxidation state of nitrogen is plus 3. In HNO3, oxygen state of nitrogen is plus 1 plus X minus 6 is equal to 0. X is equal to plus 5. Nitrogen should not show 5 1 minute. In this oxygen state of nitrogen is plus 5 only. I will check that one and I will say how it will show plus 5. Generally, nitrogen will not show plus 5 oxygen state. I think this is the exceptional case. I will check that one and I will say. Next, coming to nitrogen here, this is minus 2 and nitrogen plus 2. Now observe this ma. Left hand side, what is the oxidation number of nitrogen? +3. +3 became +5. That is called oxidation. How many nitrogens are there? 3 are there. In that, one nitrogen undergoes oxidation. Remaining 2 nitrogens undergo reduction. See, +3 to +2. Here 2 nitrogens are there. Here 1 nitrogen is there. Here 3 nitrogens are there. In that, 1 nitrogen undergoes oxidation and remaining 2 nitrogens undergo reduction. Same one oxidation number is converted to 2 oxidation numbers. One oxidation number is converted to 2 oxidation numbers, in which it will undergo one oxidation and another one reduction. One is increase in oxidation number, another one is decrease in oxidation number. +3 to +2, it is decrease in oxidation number. +3 to +5, it is increase in oxidation number. Increase in oxidation number is called oxidation. Decrease in oxidation number is called reduction. Okay ma? So same oxidation number undergoes increase in oxidation number, that is oxidation, decrease in oxidation number, that is reduction. That is called disproportionation reaction. Same oxidation number, it will be converted into 2 different oxidation numbers, in which one is undergoing increase in oxidation number, that is oxidation, and another one is undergoing decrease in oxidation number, which is called reduction. That is called disproportionation reaction. So if nitrogen is existed in the form of +1 and +4 oxygen states in some marks, 1 minute ma. All oxygen states from +1 to +4 tend to disproportionate in acid solution. For example, this is the disproportionation reaction. Example. Similarly, in case of phosphorus, nearly all intermediate oxygen states disproportionate into +5 and -3, both in alkali and acidic solutions. Now only we have seen what is meant by disproportionation. Here same thing. However, +3 oxygen state in case of arsenic, antimony and bismuth becomes increasingly stable with respect to disproportionation. See, +3 oxygen state increases stability for arsenic, antimony and bismuth because of inert pair effect. Nitrogen is restricted to a maximum covalency of 4. Here they give again C, maximum covalency of 4 only. Since only 4 orbitals are available for bonding, the heavier elements have vacant d orbitals in the outermost shell, which can be used for bonding and hence expand their valency, as in PF6-. So P can show 5 oxygen state, but which is not possible for nitrogen. In case of HNO3 alone, I will check that one and I will say ma. Okay, this is about chemical properties, oxidation states and trends in chemical reactivity of P block elements. Next one, anomalous properties of nitrogen. Nitrogen is showing some different properties when compared to other elements. Even though it is present in that group, slightly it is showing different properties when compared to other elements. What are those anomalous properties? We will see now. Before that, till now, whatever the part it was explained, I hope you are clear. Okay ma? Nitrogen differs from the rest of the members of this group due to its very small size, high electronegativity, high ionization enthalpy, and non-availability of d orbitals. These are the characteristics which kept that nitrogen is little bit different from other elements. Nitrogen differs from the rest of the members of this group due to its small size, high electronegativity, high ionization enthalpy, and non-availability of d orbitals. So every time maximum, if they are related to this type of explanation, if why it is not able to form valency 5 and why it is showing anomalous properties, maximum we will say it has no empty d orbitals. Nitrogen has unique ability to form p pi multiple bonds, nothing but n triple bond n. Like this, multiple bonds are not formed between phosphorus and phosphorus. Phosphorus and phosphorus, we will not see p triple bond p ma. Phosphorus and phosphorus, we cannot see p triple bond p, but nitrogen only, because size of the atom nitrogen is very small, in which that formation of pi bond is somewhat easy. But in p, phosphorus, size of the atom little bit increases. Because of that formation of pi bond is not possible, because p orbitals will be diffused little bit far away from each other na, little bit far away from nucleus. P orbitals are slightly diffused and they cannot be attracted that much effectively like in nitrogen. In nitrogen, atoms are very small, they are nearer by each other, that attraction will be strong, there is a chance of formation of that pi bond. But in p orbital, p phosphorus ma, there is no chance. That's why p cannot form multiple bonds, but nitrogen can form multiple bonds. That is the reason. Nitrogen has unique ability to form p pi multiple bonds with itself and with other elements having small size and high electronegativity like oxygen. Heavier elements of this group do not form p pi bonds, now only sigma, as their atomic orbitals are so large, they are far away from nucleus and their atomic orbitals are so large and diffuse that they cannot have effective overlapping. That one only I told. Attraction will be decreased. That's why effective overlapping will not be there. Already pi bond is very weak bond. When effective overlapping is not there, they cannot be formed. When size of the atom is getting increased, chance of formation of that pi bond will be decreased with itself. Thus, nitrogen exists as a diatomic molecule with a triple bond, 1s and 2p, between the two atoms. Consequently, its bond enthalpy is very high. Bond enthalpy is nothing but energy required to break the bond. Between nitrogen and nitrogen, how many bonds are there? 3 bonds are there. To break the 3 bonds combinedly, it requires very high amount of energy. Here I am talking about triple bond. Energy required to break the triple bond in N2 molecule is very high. That's why it cannot be broken. Bond energy is high. Bond energy is high, reactivity is low. That's why N2 is almost like inert in nature. So Kurkure packets, Lay's packets are filled with nitrogen gas. If they filled with air, or while they are packing, if they don't allow nitrogen gas, if they don't keep nitrogen gas inside the packet, automatically air will be filled definitely. If air is filled, air is containing oxygen. Oxygen reacts with food material to undergo decomposition. So Lay's packets and these Kurkure packets are there. To stay for long time, they have to fill with some inert gas, which is not going to react with the food material that inside. These inert gases are rare gases, generally helium, neon, argon, and they are expensive. First thing is they are rare gases. For the simple reasons they cannot use them. That's why parallelly nitrogen is abundant in nature, and it is showing the inertness like inert gases because of triple bond. Bond energy is high. That's why they will fill with nitrogen gas. Okay, ma? Consequently, its bond energy, see, 941.4 kilojoules per mole. 941.4 kilojoules per mole is very high. On the contrary, phosphorus, arsenic and antimony form single bonds as PP, ASAS and SbSp, while bismuth forms metallic bond in elemental state. However, the single bond in NN is weaker than the single bond in PP bond. This is about single bond only, ma. Previously I talked about triple bond. Nitrogen triple bond is very strong. Bond energy is very high. But now I am going to talk about nitrogen single bond only. N. And phosphorus single bond phosphorus. When we are comparing these two, actual thing is here the single bond is present between nitrogen small atoms, phosphorus big atoms. Obviously, according to our known information, nucleus will attract this bond pair of electrons strongly. This nucleus and this nucleus will attract the bond pair of electrons very strongly, and this bond must be strong. N single bond N must be strong only. But the problem is N single bond N is very strong bond. Sorry, actually thing is it is formed by small atoms, ma. N single bond N is formed by small atoms. This bond must be strong. But after the formation of bond, nitrogen is remained with lone pair of electrons. After the formation of bond, nitrogen is remained with lone pair of electrons. Those lone pair of electrons are very near by each other because the atom is very small, na? These atoms are very small. Because of that, lone pairs are very near by each other. When lone pairs are getting nearer by each other, repulsions are increased. When lone pairs are very near by each other, repulsions are very high. Because of that repulsions, they want to separate from each other. These two atoms, they want to separate from each other. Even though they are able to form strong bond, because of these repulsions between the lone pairs, these bond pair means these two nitrogen atoms, they want to break easily. This is regarding N single bond only. N I am talking. N single bond N only I am talking. Okay, so it has less bond energy. But coming to phosphorus, after the formation of bond, these lone pairs are also present in phosphorus, ma. One lone pair is present on phosphorus, both phosphorus atoms. These lone pairs are little bit far away from each other. Then lone pairs have less repulsions. When they are very nearer only, repulsions will be high. Here lone pairs are present at considerable distance, so they have less repulsions. When they have less repulsions, this bond normally itself, it will show how the strength will be, like that only it will show. Because of this, P single bond P is more stronger than N single bond N. Actually N single bond N must be stronger than phosphorus single bond phosphorus, but because of this lone pair repulsions, P single bond P is stronger than N single bond N. Is it okay, ma? Now let us see the point. N single bond is weaker than the single PP bond because of high interelectronic repulsions of the non-bonding electrons. Non-bonding electrons are nothing but lone pairs, owing to the small bond length. Small bond length means the atoms are very closer to each other, so lone pairs are very high. As a result, the catenation tendency is weaker in nitrogen. When nitrogen is not able to form single bond strongly, it cannot form chain-like structure with nitrogen. When it is not able to form, that means the chain cannot be long, because the nitrogen single bond nitrogen is weak, na. See, when a chain is very strong, the links present in that one also, it should be strong. Then only the chain will be existed. Here nitrogen single bond nitrogen is weak bond, so continuously it cannot be existed in the form of chain. That ability to form the chain like structures is called catenation property. The ability to form chain like structures is called catenation property. When the bond strength is high, catenation property is high. So phosphorus has catenation property. Nitrogen cannot show catenation property because nitrogen single bond nitrogen is weak bond. N single bond N is weaker than the single pp bond because of high interelectronic. As a result, the catenation tendency is weaker in nitrogen. Another factor which affects the chemistry of nitrogen is the absence of d orbitals in its valence shell. Besides restricting its covalency to 4, nitrogen cannot form d pi p pi bond as the heavier elements can, because d electrons are not there in nitrogen, that's why it cannot form this type of bond. So other atoms they can form 5 bonds, but nitrogen cannot form 5 bonds. Phosphorus and arsenic can form d pi bond also with transition elements, which their compounds like pC2H5 thrice and AsC6H5 thrice act as ligands. Okay ma? This is about anomalous properties of nitrogen. Nitrogen cannot form d pi p pi bonds and d pi bonds because of absence of d orbitals. That's why it cannot form bonds with transition elements also. Nitrogen cannot form bonds with transition elements. Transition elements contain d orbitals in valence shell. Transition elements are nothing but d block elements. Okay, these are the anomalous properties of nitrogen. I hope you are clear. Once go through like this, you have to prepare well, and in next class we will see reactivity towards hydrogen, like that continuation, how these elements are going to react with hydrogen, oxygen, halogens, like that we will see term wise. These are all simple only. General characteristics are only time taken Now what are the properties I told? Importantly, this type of explanations they will be repeated for next groups also. Inert pair effect, this electron pair repulsions, all these things. Even though now time is taken, for other group elements it will be easy for you, and we will complete the topics very fastly only. Okay, in next class we will see what about the reactivity of these elements with hydrogen and other elements. I think this is clear for you in today's class. Till now we have seen that trends in physical properties and chemical properties in 15th group elements. General characteristics we have seen, general chemical properties, and anomalous properties of nitrogen also we have seen. That is about today's class. In next class we will see how these elements are going to react with other elements and which type of compounds are going to be formed. Okay, I hope you are clear. Thank you all. Have a nice day.